Hello again, I hope you're all doing well. This is Dan Reel with Fraudclosure 101, and this is Securitized Mortgages 101. Few things. This is about as simplified of a flowchart as I can make, and this is a pretty typically standard situation with a securitized mortgage. We're going to do another video which contains the way things would normally work, assuming, we're watching This Is a Wonderful Life, and we're dealing with, just the average bank on the high street that actually intends to hold your loan and take a real risk and actually vet you as a borrower and so on and so forth. I guess to put it bluntly, let's start. I've used the word fraud a whole lot, and here's where most of it is. Typically, this is the way a securitized mortgage will start out. You're the homeowner. You are right here. This is your mortgage, and this is how the payments go, and this is what happens. You will send your payment here. Let's call them the Bank of Everything, or the Bank of Everybody, or I don't know, sometimes Bank of America will just do fine. These guys, typically, this is a servicer. They originally were the originator. Sometimes you have a different originator in most cases, and that seat will kind of change. It's kind of a revolving chair, if you would. So you'll send your payments to the servicer, and the ownership of the loan, right from the beginning, would actually go to the mortgage-backed security issuer. Now, you might have a question in your mind. Say your name is Joe Walmart worker, and you make $10 an hour, and somehow you got a $500,000 home. Your first question in your mind is, how in the hell would any bank in its right mind actually approve this loan? And the answer to that question is generally twofold. Well, first of all, nobody's in their right mind. This is actually fraud. And second of all, the way it happened was all these MBS issuers right over here got together with the rating agencies. You are Joe Walmart worker. The MBS issuers, mortgage-backed security issuers, basically said they wanted to buy a whole bunch of loans, and, well, they made certain material representations to these guys called the rating agencies, and what the rating agencies did is they packaged Joe Walmart worker's mortgage as AAA and investment-grade paper. That should make your blood boil, especially if you're in foreclosure. The reason is the originator already got paid. They got paid. They basically engaged in a fraud to make this whole thing happen. So, typically what will happen in this arrangement is they got the rating agencies to sign off on your loan as investment-grade material. That's great. That's all well good, but what are they going to do? First thing the MBS issuer does is after they get that rating, they say, okay, we've got this pile of mortgages. Better yet, they say, we've got this box of chocolates. The box of chocolates, in all reality, is actually a box of used dog food. So they take this box of used dog food, known as all Walmart workers' mortgages, and they give it to the trustee. The way this whole arrangement works is the Bank of Everything takes all the payments you send through, and they send those payments to the trustee. And the investors actually buy into this garbage. Your teachers, your firefighters, a lot of people who, buy into most common retirement assets. The state of Connecticut's deeply into it, and their pension funds. Most states are that way too. Basically, we're left holding the bag. And these guys have all gotten paid. And they're getting paid. And whatever payments are left over, which, depending on how late in the game we are, a lot of cases there's not much. Whatever payments are, go to these investors. Now, there's no way this is going to work. If this homeowner actually makes $10 an hour, and these investors bought some kind of investment product that they were told was going to pay forth, like, say, a 12 or 15% return, let's be honest, it's not going to happen. So, you, the homeowner in this situation, and the investors are, in fact, victims of fraud. This loan should have never happened. And when these guys are trying to foreclose, when the trustee actually is trying to foreclose through the servicer, let's face it, they're trying to profit off of a fraud. Now, if you feel interested, there are two cases I want to direct you to kind of address what happens in these interesting, weird situations. One is Landmark versus Kessler. Kansas Supreme Court 2009 took that up. That had to do with the issue of a bifurcated mortgage. U.S. Bank versus Ibanez, the Massachusetts Supreme Court dealt with a similar issue. You might want to look that case up. Obviously, this isn't legal advice. I'm not an attorney. I'm not holding myself out to be one. But I am saying, look, just look at these cases. The language is the language. Get some of the background. Run it by your attorney. And if you're in a situation like this, chances are there are a whole lot of problems all along the way. Remember, this is a very simplified flowchart here. I mean, there are a lot of different steps. I mean, you could flowchart the whole thing out. You could add in like credit default insurance. That's another issue, and that's a question. If you have a securitized mortgage, you should be asking about that in discovery. So, just to make this very simple, this was never designed to work, ever. Nor could it ever work. The numbers would never, ever in a million years have worked. And unfortunately, what Congress did, now I mean, most mortgages you could probably put Fannie and Freddie in here somewhere, and they're guaranteeing the whole thing, not specifically but implicitly, and the way it panned out, it turned out to be actually. So, in other words, these guys, these banks, and these security issuers, they essentially created a situation where they took your loan, which was used dog food, and they sold it to these people as a box of chocolates. These people got really mad. The credit default insurance people got really mad and incredibly broke very fast, which was part of why we had an economic collapse, a big part. And in return, they put it on the government's books, and yet they're still taking your home. Now, many of you may have gotten into the situation thinking, I don't want a free home. I really just want to pay what's owed. But if your blood isn't boiling after this, I don't know what would actually make your blood boil. It's something to look at. It's something you should be very upset about. Especially if, obviously if you have a securitized mortgage, this is what happened. It affects the title to property, trillions of dollars of property, and this kind of mess is not going to get unpacked anytime soon. So, if you've never heard of securitized mortgage or understood how it worked, I hope it was helpful. Send any questions, comments to headlinecopy@gmail.com, and if you want to see more, or you want us to post videos clarifying any of this, please do, and we look forward to your comments and feedback.